With the release of Tomodachi Life living the dream on the horizon, maybe even a new horizon?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It seems like all eyes are on the Miis, in almost a similar fashion to the release of MIITOPIA on the Switch, which has gotten me thinking about these little avatars Nintendo made back in 2006. Now, everyone knows these little guys, right? I mean, the Wii did sell over 100 million copies, and you did click on the link to the video, so I'm just gonna assume you do. The Miis were all over the Wii, and during that time, it almost seemed like every big release on the Wii used these guys in one way or another. Everyone knows they had their own releases on the Wii through the Wii series of games. Long live Woohoo Island. Even in non-Wii series games, you couldn't escape them, no matter where you went, from being one of the new characters from Mario Kart Wii, or even just a save file icon. As the 3DS and Wii U generations came in, things slowed down, but they still felt very prevalent. More and more the Miis kept getting shafted. Like, you can't tell me that one of the Mii's only starring roles in a Switch title was in the subpar story mode of Mario Golf, and then tell me they're still just as big. Even in the spiritual successor to the Wii Sports, we got the Sportsmates instead of the Miis? Really? These guys? Anyways, there was one shining beacon of hope, the port of 3DS's MIITOPIA. For the first time in forever, we had a new-ish game starring the Miis, and all eyes were on them. Now, you probably know the rest. MIITOPIA sold very well. One of the 3DS's best sellers, Tomodachi Life, is finally making its way to the Switch. Then that begs the question, what now? Where do the Miis go from here? They haven't really gone far on the Switch as we've seen. Why do people care about the Miis so much? I think, at least for me, it's because of how versatile they are on the systems that they inhabit. Like, I can make one character, and just with that one character, they can be a platformer in New Super Mario Bros., a racer in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a fighter in Super Smash Bros., a mage in MIITOPIA, or just chill on an island in Tomodachi Life. It's just fun. Especially if you were a little narcissist growing up like I apparently was. I loved seeing my Mii in all these different games, and I think that's sorely missed today. It's really telling, especially when seeing a game like Mario Galaxy get ported to the Switch, and then they remove the save file icons that use your Mii. Now, I would say deservedly so, people have gotten kinda worried about the future of the Miis. Sure, it's not like they're gone, but you can't blame people for being a little bit worried when the Mii menu has been sunk into the bottom of the settings with a bland UI and no music. Tomodachi Life releases very soon, so I hope that once again these quirky avatars can play a bigger role in the console releases. So let's go through a variety of games and ideas for the Miis that I have prepared for you all today. Even though I doubt Nintendo will see this, I don't think that my ideas are that far from the realm of possibility. So first, with what I believe is a no-brainer. First, I think to truly get the Miis back, it needs to change up their series naming scheme. So far, it's relied on the console it's released on for its name, like Wii Sports or Nintendo Switch Sports. But I think focusing more on the Miis itself, making it the Mii series instead of formerly the Wii series, would give it its own identity. Alongside this, I propose a re-release of one of the Wii's best sellers, Wii Sports Resort. Nintendo as of recently have been much more interested in re-releasing/remaking their old titles with some sort of new expansion. But first, let me talk about my proposed changes to the main game. Firstly, we will bring back the sports that were in the original Wii Sports that were missing in Resort, that being baseball, boxing, and tennis. This also brings up the topic of the sports from Nintendo Switch Sports. I personally don't really like soccer from that game, but I think volleyball or badminton could slot in pretty well. But that would be an issue more of backporting rather than bringing a sport from one game to another, which I assume would be easier than making it from the ground up, like we'd have to do for volleyball or badminton. I'm not really a game dev though. Alongside this, I think that some of the other games from some of the other Wii series, like Billiards from Wii Play, would make another nice addition, truly making this a full celebration of the Wii series. Maybe even some new sports could make their way in as well, but I don't really have much input from that end. But the big new addition would be the brand new Woohoo Island Rally mode. The biggest correlation from this would be like Go Vacation of sorts. You would play as your Mii and would be able to roam all around Woohoo Island and rise through the ranks for the Woohoo Island Rally Challenge. This would almost be like a semi-story mode where you play through all the sports, challenging fellow Miis. This would also take advantage of having your Miis on your console, as for non-important challengers, your system Miis may show up as the other players you fight against. Overall, this would be a nice way to give a lot more longevity to the game without having to make a ton of new content, and also giving people a way to explore Wuhu Island on foot, which I personally have always wanted. Alongside actual new content, I assume the game would get a graphical bump, nothing crazy, just better textures and a resolution bump, maybe even 120 frames per second on Switch 2, though I doubt that would matter that much. Alongside this, online play would be a fun addition, though I'm not sure of how hard this would be to implement. Again, not a game dev. But even if it's as basic as being able to play in a room with friends, even if online matchmaking like Switch Sports would be cool, I don't think it's a need. Overall, a remake/remaster of the Wii series' most popular game would be a guaranteed hit no matter how they go about it, and I just really want to go to Wuhu Island again. To me, this is another sort of no-brainer idea. This could be as simple as taking the original game, making a new story, adding some jobs, that's what they call classes, features, and call it a day. But I suppose they try and shake things up. That could be through new theming, maybe exploring a new type of setting, like space or something of the like. Or through new gameplay styles. They could go like South Park and make their sequel a tactical RPG, or add a bigger emphasis on how you spend your time and resources outside of combat like the modern Persona series. I imagine that most, if not all, of the jobs from the original would return, and I think some new ones alongside the originals can make the game feel fresh, no matter what changes they make from the core experience of the original. And I have a couple ideas of my own, so just bear with me for a second.
So, you're the punk I've heard about.
The superhero would probably be almost a mix of the warrior and vampire jobs from the original game, taking a damaging role like the warrior but with the versatility of the vampire. But unlike the vampire, they wouldn't have much support besides their ability to assist others with blocks or dodges, being sort of guardian angel.
James is the oldest player in the NBA. Your reaction?
The Hooper would be inspired by that of a basketball player, but they would be unique as they would be a sort of stance job. What do I mean by this? Well, they would have an offense and defense mode, one prioritizing attack and speed while the other prioritizes the job's defensive capabilities, while also being able to help out teammates more. Each stance would have access to some different special moves, like with a three-pointer for high damage or passing the ball to another player, similar to the Encore from the Pop Star. Though, I imagine changing stances would consume NP, so this would be a very NP-heavy role to play.
Quick, what are his vitals?
They're over 9,000!
What? 9,000? That's impossible! I'm gonna have to power up to Super Surgeon!
The Doctor would be a mostly support role with maybe one or two damaging moves, similar to the Cleric, but where the Cleric focuses more on healing for the most part, this would be a job that's more focused on buffing your team and debuffing your opponents. The main feature would be that you could get a prescription refill on your sprinkles mid-battle, though I think this would only be once a battle and would require a lot of NP, and maybe also a turn to activate? I don't know. The main problem with this role would be making it visually distinctive enough from the Scientist, but I think another support role would be a great addition.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
The last job idea is the fish. Of course, there has to be one kind of weird job. As the fish, your Mii would be able to summon schools of fish to join them throughout the fight. And as more fish gather, you do more damage and take less damage. But as your fish get tired or take a lot of damage, they will swim off, meaning that you would have to balance how much fish you can obtain with the most damage you can do. You would also have the ability to divvy out your school of fish to your party members using the sprinkle menu. This would definitely be one of the harder classes to use, but you would have great versatility available. And that's really all I got when it comes to a MIITOPIA sequel. I mean, honestly, I think no matter what they do, I think a MIITOPIA sequel would be a smash hit for the Nintendo Switch or whatever console they're on by this point. And as one last thing, I think there's a certain recent Nintendo release that seems to be strangely lacking these little fellas. As much as I would love to yap my ass off about Mario Kart World, I want to keep this video structured. But while I think it's weird that the Miis are absent from Mario Kart's latest title despite being in the last 4 games, I think Nintendo has a golden opportunity now. You all remember the Woohoo Island tracks from Mario Kart 7, right? Woohoo Loop and Maka Woohoo. Well, since the big new thing for this game is its open world, why not make the most of it? I propose they add a new cup to the game that takes place almost entirely on Woohoo Island and some of its surroundings. I will talk more about the details, but first let's go over the characters. Now, yes, while I do think the main focus should be adding Woohoo Island, I think there's room for a couple of characters to be added to the game, starting with the Mii. Well, yeah, duh, that's kind of the point of the video. My first point is that we please get rid of those stupid helmets from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It feels just kinda wrong to have a character that's solely based on the fact that they are a customizable avatar, then make it so you can't see any of their features from the most common viewing angle. I don't think we should get rid of the Mii's unique attire. I think they would be a perfect character to just get loaded with costumes, and since it's an avatar, you don't really need to worry about the references and what works or what not. The more the merrier. And if you really want outfits from the Mii games, then there's a ton to pick from. Hell, you could probably just snatch a bunch of models from Tomodachi Life Living the Dream and call it a day. No matter what, though, the inclusion of the Miis to the roster would make it so much more dynamic. The sky's the limit at that point for who you want to play as. Anything from Benjamin Franklin to Deku. But that ain't the only character getting added. Yeah, I know this whole thing is supposed to be about the Miis, but come on, the opportunity is right there. Now, I don't know if Nintendo would care enough to add both the male and female trainers to this game. I assume if it was just one, it would be the female trainer though. I think now that Mario Kart World is on its feet as a Mario game, a couple crossover characters would be just fine. And the Wii Fit trainer fits in a similar realm to me as a character like Rob. And honestly, getting a whole new DLC based on Woohoo Island, it would be a shame to leave out one of the biggest characters besides the Mii to have anything to do with the place. Now, obviously, as mentioned before, Woohoo Loop and Maka Woohoo would be in the game. And alongside this, we could get Woohoo Town as a battle map, and also a brand new battle map. Let's just call it Woohoo Mountain. This would take place in and around the volcano from Woohoo Island, just adding more variety to the battle maps that we already do have. Alongside this, there would be a new island nearby, which would have the returning courses, Mario Kart 8's Toad Harbor and Mario Kart Super Circuit's Lakeside Park. Both of these are from games that are currently underrepresented in World, and I think they both have a unique and fun theming that could suit our 2 Woohoo tracks. And that's really just about it. The Miis have been around for so long at this point, and seeing them start to fade away is a bit disheartening, especially when it feels like they are only now being utilized so well. I hope they get featured more, even if it's just little stuff like how games used to allow you to use them for profile icons. Maybe even a new type of Mii fighter in Super Smash Bros? I may have been a little narcissist as a child and play as my Mii all the time, but I think it's fun to give people the opportunity to play as practically anyone in some of their favorite games. I would love getting all my friends over and making them Miis, and honestly, I still do. Well, that's all from me today. I'm Versanite, and now I'm probably gonna go play Tomodachi Life until my friends and family worry about me. Bye-bye!